What's up, guys? Welcome to your 151st Android tutorial for the new Boston, where we're still going to work with this getting the last tweet of a specific username method. And it's going to be pretty similar to what we did with, before when we were working with the HTTP client and get and response, all that stuff. So we're just going to kind of go quickly, but I'll still try and explain some new stuff just to further you guys' learning here. And so what we need to do again is set up a HTTP response. We're going to set this equal to response or R, something like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to say our client that we set up within our on create method. We're going to refer to that client, and then again we use the method execute. And what we're going to pass in here is basically this get method. So we're just going to say get and add our imports. Now what we want to do is we want to check if it cleared, so we're going to set up an int called status returned, or status is fine, and we're going to set this equal to our response, which is our dot get status line dot get status code, and that's going to return a number for us, obviously since it's an int. But let's just take a look at it. I pulled this up. It's the Java doc, and for this get status code that we just used, if it returns like 200, that means it's a success. 100 is just informational, 300 is redirect, 400 error, and 500 service error. So what we want is actually the 200 if it's successful. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up an if statement. If our status is equal to 200, then we're going to set up a HTTP entity called E, and we're going to call this our r.get entity. Again, nothing too new there. We're also going to set up a string, and we're going to call this data. We're going to set this equal to entity utilities dot to string, and we're going to pass in our entity, which we called E, and that's just basically going to create some data returning the string of our entity. We need to set up a JSON array and a JSON object that we're going to return. So again, we're just going to say JSONarray, and we're going to call this timeline, and we're going to set this equal to a new JSON array passing in our data, and that's going to create a JSON array for us. And then what we need to do is set up a JSON object. So we're going to say JSON object, and we're going to call this last, for referring to the last tweet, because basically now what we're going to do is refer to our timeline that we just set up, which is our array, and that's going to return a lot of different objects, JSON objects, and we have different indexes. And basically the first, or the 0 index, is going to be the most recent tweet, like the next one's going to be second to most recent, etc. And since this method's called last tweet, we're going to say 0 here, and that's going to return a JSON object from our array that we set up, again according to all this stuff that we set up here as well. And we want position 0 because it's going to be the most recent. We could also say, the fifth most recent tweet, or I'm sorry, that'd be the 6th, but that'd be 5th, etc. But we want the most recent tweet, which is 0. Then all we're going to do is return again our JSON object, so we're going to return last. So there we go. We also need to return if this status is not equal to 200, if we got some sort of an error. So we're going to say else return null. And we can also set up like a toast or something, toast dot make text, referring to our HTTP example class dot this error some sort, duration toast dot set length to be short, and then we know we have some sort of an error, or we're hitting this else statement here. So there we go, we're returning again a JSON object, And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to finish up this little application, and probably after that I'll show you guys a little bit more information of everything that we did. So I'll catch you guys then, and I hope you have a good one. Peace.